All right. Good evening, everyone. Been a while since I've been on the Freight Broker YouTube channel live to do some Q&A. So how is everyone doing? Welcome. Let me put the Freight Broker information up here just to get some Q&A going. For the subscribers, thank you for subscribing to the channel. Hope all is well with everyone. Q&A, coming on to do some Q&A. This is Charles with the Freight Broker 101 training for beginners. See people coming in. Come on in, let's chat. Let's chat for a little bit. It's been a while since I've been on this particular channel. Any Freight Broker 101 training for beginners, questions? Hey, LaDonna, how are you? Thank you for the video earlier with you and the team. Appreciate that. Now I'm on the Freight Broker side, getting some questions in. It's been a while since I've been on this side. I'll be on the dispatcher side momentarily, but right now I'm on the Freight Broker side. So, new Freight Brokers, Freight Broker Q&A. What's going on? Where are you guys at? I'm typing this in as well. Freight Broker 101 Q and A. I know people have some questions. So those of you who are aspiring, who are on the channel, who are subscribed to the channel, who have not either enrolled in the ongoing training or have enrolled but have some general questions. But if you haven't enrolled in the ongoing training, that's fine too. Someone says, Emil says, I've always wanted to do this, but never got involved in Canada. I don't know if that is a concern for your teaching. Wondering if you have tips. Yes, tips, brother. Yeah. You can be a freight broker living in Canada. If you want to broker freight from customers in the U.S., you would need to establish a business, an entity in the U.S. to go after U.S. companies. Okay, so you can broker freight to carriers in the U.S., or you can deal with carriers who have direct route carriers coming from Canada down into the U.S. and then directly back up to Canada. So, but there's various strategies that you can put in play. So, but yes, to answer your original question, you can be a freight broker based in Canada. That does not being in a different country shouldn't stop you. Now, if you live in a different country and you want to broker freight specifically and only in the U.S., then you would need to establish a U.S. entity. Okay, you would have to have a business set up on U.S. soil, establish your entity in the U.S., and then be able to go after shippers in the U.S. And my presumption would be to create a virtual address that's U.S. based, even though you are in Canada. Okay, so virtual address, U.S. virtual address, even though you have a Canada residence. So what province are you from, Emil Milanov, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly? Which province do you stay? What province are you from? Quebec, Nova Scotia, Saskatchewan, Montreal? So that would be a good question too. So, but yes, to answer your question, you can be a freight broker in another. So yes. Okay, so you're from Ontario. So I used to live in Detroit. As a matter of fact, I'm from Detroit. That's where I was born. And we used to cross over the Ambassador Bridge or the tunnel to go to Windsor, Ontario, back and forth. So I'm familiar with the Ontario province. And I believe Ontario touches the Buffalo side, Buffalo, New York on that side too, upstate New York, if my geography serves me correctly. So are you in the process of beginning to establish the requirements to be a freight broker? That'd be another question as well. Establishing your brokerage, your broker business, your business license, your virtual address in your case, since you are in a different country, um, and applying for your bond. So you have to become a broker in the U.S. You have to apply through the U.S. governing body, which is the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. So um, go through that process. Fill out the what's called the OP1 form, which is the application for an operating authority for a motor carrier and or a freight broker. Once you do that, then there's other steps. So, how much should one pay for beginner broker training? Um, that's a very good question. It depends on so every trainer has a different price point. Um, Arlene Crawford, every trainer has a different price point. Every trainer offers different types of training. I try to keep my price points very low and affordable, at the same time giving a lot of content and value to the person who signed up for the training. So I give, you know, twice the value, half the cost. So you can compare, if I were you, at least the top three, maybe top 3 to 5 different trainers, what they offer, and how that aligns with what you are trying to accomplish when you are going after a training for freight broker training. What's all included? What do you get? Is it continual? Is it just a 1 week, 1 day, 1 month kind of training, or is it ongoing? I can only speak from Exodus Freight Broker 101's perspective. I'm not familiar with all the other trainings, what they do and how they do it. I'm aware who they are, but I don't know their systems. I only know my system. So the key to this is to mind your own business, your own company. You know, that term I literally do. I mind my business, right? So I try to keep my business structured in a way where I'm giving the most value that I possibly can to the person who's potentially going to come in and get the training. So, but my price point for my freight broker training, the ongoing training, is $7.99 for the single member. Um, Copy of the Emil said, copy the OP1 form. I'll look into this. Thank you. I'll be in touch. Always wanted to do this, just no one available to help, but I've subscribed to your channel and your appreciate. Thank you, Emil. Yeah, so I'm going to be popping in from time to time on the lives on the freight broker side and on the dispatching side as much. I've been building up the dispatcher side more so, but I wanted to provide some balance between the broker and the dispatcher side. So Tanya Williams asked, I should say, how long is the freight broker training? So again, different trainers have different time periods. But speaking from our training at Exodus Logistics Learning Center, Freight Broker 101 training, we have a training course that's ongoing. You initially enroll for the initial enrollment price, $7.99. And then 1 month after your enrollment date, there is a monthly subscription of $19.99 monthly from month to month for the next 11 months for a total of a year. So you enroll at the initial price point, $7.99. So that first 30 days gets you in and gets you acclimated. You get access to our back office portal, all our tools and resources, live trainings, load board access, forms and document templates, all the modules, the 3 modules. And then if you want to maintain that and keep that on a month per month basis for the next 11 months for a total of a year, then it's just an additional $19.99 per month. Okay. And you can cancel that anytime. You can say after 3 months, hey, I got it. I understand. I no longer need access to your back office. Then you can stop with the monthly subscription invoicing. So that's how we work. We let you in initially at the price point. That first month you get everything. And if you want to keep and maintain it, it's a month-to-month subscription thereafter. Okay. And this is on the website. I think I put the link up there to the website where you can actually see that. Let me grab that again. So you can actually read that for yourself so you'll be better informed. Okay. So, but if you want to be what's called a logistics provider, a freight broker, someone who arranges for the transportation and the movement of the freight, do not take possession of the freight. That's what the carriers do. That's what the truck drivers do. But you arrange for the transportation. So you do have some a stake in that process, in that workflow, because you are the one who connects the shippers and the carriers. You are the middle person, the broker. You are brokering, right? You get the customers to agree to give you their freight to broker to the carriers, to the trucking companies, and you speak to the trucking companies and get them to agree to pick up and move that freight for your customers. So in a sense, you have two customers as a freight broker. You have the shippers, the regular customers, and you have the carriers, the trucking companies or the truck drivers. Okay. So you need to find a balance in between the two, right? Because one doesn't work without the other. Okay. That's what a freight broker is. You are a middleman or middlewoman between the shippers, the customers, and the truck drivers. Okay. So you are welcome, Arlen. Hopefully that question was answered. Q&A. We've been here about 11 minutes. What's going on? What else you guys have? Basic freight broker. The reason why I structured it as basic freight broker training is because you want to establish a foundation to get yourself started. And once you get your foundation established, then you would build from that. You can always scale from if your foundation is solid, you can always scale from that and grow your company. But if you don't have a solid foundation in brokering and understanding what that is, then you won't be able to grow that or scale that. Okay. So what else we got? So great questions from Emil. Great question from Tanya. Great questions from Arlen. Who else? We got about 10 people in here now, which is good. Click the thumbs up button to like this live, if you so choose. It just helps the channel. That's all. The algorithms and helps the channel grow. So, what other questions? So if there's not any more questions, just want to make sure I come in and show myself periodically, answer the questions. This is mainly also for those subscribers of this channel who are not members of the ongoing training. They're not enrolled in Freight Broker one-on-one training for beginners. So I come in and provide some content for you guys since you are also subscribers. So is there a certain rate per mile I should be quoting? So what Exotic Physiques says, what's asking, when you are negotiating, when you're doing either rate quotes or lane quotes or rate bids with the shippers, is there a certain rate per mile that you should be quoting? You should be familiar, depends on the commodity that the shipper is trying to get you to quote and the equipment type that commodity goes on. You would compare spot market rates, the average cents per mile you can go off of, or you can go off the range. Well, most brokers go off the average cents per mile to decide what their baseline lane quote starting point is. And then after that, you add your margins on top of that. As a broker, you can charge, I've noticed, between 15 and 20% on top of the spot market rate. And then you do your numbers after that. Okay. So Thomas Lee, BMC 84, what are the best companies to work with? So the BMC 84, those are that is the form, the surety bond form that gets filed by the bond company. This is for those who don't know. The BMC 84 and then the BMC 85, they're bond forms that gets filed by the bond companies to the FMCSA, telling the FMCSA, which is the governing body, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, that this company, this brokerage that we're filing this form for, meets the requirements for that $75,000 bond. So the best companies, you would have to do your research. We have some in our portal that we can recommend. We got one, Trans Insurers and International Sureties. There's some other ones. You look at the standard ones as a baseline: JW Surety, Lance Surety Bonds, things like that. But do your homework. Make sure that they're going to go off of your personal credit, especially if you're new and you're just starting your brokerage, you don't have any business credit established. So they go off the personal credit to determine what your premium, your annual premium is going to be that you got to pay to have that $75,000 bond coverage. It's like insurance, essentially. So, okay. Exotic Physique says, I've gotten shippers to talk to me, but I find myself getting ghosts after quoting. Oh, okay. So you may have outbid yourself in that instance. So whatever example that you've done. So is a trailer enough to say I'm an asset-based brokerage? No, it is not. So the trailer is an accessory of the asset. The asset is the actual unit, the power unit. Okay, so the trailer is an accessory to that. So to be an asset, you have to have something that's going to be able to transport something back and forth. Okay, so you can have a trucking side and a broker side, right? Yes, I'm quoted about 350 per mile. So that depends on that 350 per mile. Depends on the commodity, depends on the equipment type that you're quoting it for, depends on the market that you're in or that the shipper is located, that may or may not dictate that type of rate. So you have to take all those things into consideration and factor those things. Okay. Emil said, if I was to join your course for 800, would I be able to go ahead and work from home afterwards? You would, after you establish your brokerage. So it's all on you. It's your effort, what you put in. So my job as an instructor is to give you all the tools and present them in front of you. You still have to do the work. Okay. I give you the tools and make it a little bit easier for you, kind of the blueprint or the roadmap, if you will. But you still, Emil, have to, and everybody else, you have to put in the work. Okay. Exotic Physiques, you're welcome. Arlen Crawford, can you run trucks off of a broker's authority, or do you have to have two different authorities? You can run trucks under a brokerage authority, which is an asset-based brokerage, but it's best to keep the entities separate. It's best to keep a broker side entity and authority and the trucking side authority. It's best to keep them separate for insurance purposes, for tax purposes, things of that nature. So should I get a brokerage before joining? Emil asks. You can be in the process of starting a brokerage company. You can train anytime. You can train before, you can train during, you can train after you establish your company. The training part, our training is self-paced. And we have live Zoom trainings 2 nights a week on the broker side, Tuesdays and Friday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern. So you can train anytime, but the process of getting your brokerage, that's the important part, getting that up and running. So you can determine and strategize when you want to leverage the training on top of you establishing your company. Okay. One last question. Exotic Physique said, do you feel cold calling is still effective? Yes, it is. It's one of the most effective cold calling, text campaigns, SMS strategies, and email campaigns are effective. Cold calling is because it gives you a chance to actually speak to your potential customer. And it gives the potential customer, a chance to hear you sell yourself. It gives you a chance to perform and to let them know what you are doing. So, okay. Emil asks, thank you for your help. I have no idea how this works, but I am very interested. Just curious how much funds I will have to invest until I begin to see my return. So minimum 5,000. Minimum 5,000 will get you started, and that's even a high number because it costs about $300 to apply for your operating authority as a freight broker and as a carrier because it's the same form, the OP1 form. And then you have other things. You may have a TMS system you may need, but you may not need a TMS system starting out, okay, because you don't have any customers yet. You may not need a load board starting out because you don't have a customer yet. So keep your overhead costs low, okay? Keep them low and just get your back office infrastructure set up first. Get your business established, business license, get your back office infrastructure set up. What I mean by back office infrastructure is this. If you were to get a shipper and the shipper says, send me your packet, what is that? What are the contents of your packet? If you were to get a customer, a carrier, a trucking company to move that shipper's load, what is your broker carrier agreement packet. What are the contents of that? So establish that as well. Okay. Okay, what is TMS? TMS stands for, that's an acronym. It stands for Transportation Management Software. What that does is it's a CRM. It's a combination actually of a CRM and a CMS. CRM is a customer relationship management and platform, and the CMS is content management. So it's kind of fused together. The TMS, it keeps track of the shippers, the customers, the assets, the loads, the accounting, the reporting. Everything is all in one centralized software that you can keep organized as a freight brokerage when you are running your freight brokerage. Okay, that's what a TMS does. And on the low end, TMS system like Ascend, for example, can do that for a very inexpensive monthly subscription price. You have other ones. The one of the most expensive TMS systems, which McLeod's. McLeod's is a very expensive one, like in upwards of $25,000. But you have Ascend, you have Load Manager, Load Pilot, Aljex, Axis, eFreight Solutions. You have a TMS system built into the DAT. You have a TMS system built into TruckStop. So there's all types of TMS systems, transportation management software. You just have to decide what your budget is, how much you can afford, and how much functionality do you need from that TMS system starting out as a beginner freight broker. That way you keep your expenses low, your overhead low, and your profit margins high. So, all right. Very good question, though, about the TMS system. So TMS system, also a load board as a beginner broker. What load boards? You want to start low as far as expenses is concerned. Start with your price points low and then build up as you get customers and start moving loads and start generating revenue as a freight broker. Then you can consider getting a more robust TMS system as well as a more robust load board. And you can actually get a load board or a TMS system that integrates with the load board. So you kind of kill two birds with one stone. Okay. So great question, Arlen. And let's see. I think that's it. All right. 22 minutes. I didn't anticipate being on here too long, but once I get started talking, I can't shut up, it seems. But so if that is it for the questions, those who didn't click the thumbs up, there's 14 in here. There's 6 thumbs up. If you didn't click the thumbs up, click the thumbs up for me. I got 6 thumbs up. Like the live here, add to the algorithm, build on the channel, and I'm going to be showing my face periodically. So yeah. Arlen said, are those different systems in the beginner packet? Yes, we talk about them and we recommend certain ones for you to consider investing in. Okay. And I'm assuming you're referring to the TMS systems. I have an example of a login for the Ascend TMS system to show you how to actually, when you log in, how to build your load. You receive a load tender from a shipper. So then you build that load in the TMS system, integrate it with a load board, post it out there on the load board for the carriers to see and to call you to get a rate for that load or to book that load actually. So in the process of that. So TMS systems like Ascend, it does it for you. You just have to fill in the blank and go from there. Okay. All right. Where is the thumbs up button? I assume it's next to the button that shows the number of attendees in the live. So I'm looking at mine on my side. There may be a different viewpoint for those who are viewing than the person like me who's hosting the live. So, or you can be a like button. Everybody's subscribed because you wouldn't be seeing this if you didn't subscribe, but there's a like button over there. So I see 9 of 11. So that's good enough for me. I got 9 of 11. That's a pretty high percentage of those who liked it. So You guys just grew my algorithm stats. So, but okay, so if you are subscribed to the channel, well, you are subscribed. All of you are subscribed because you're here. But if you're not part of the ongoing Freight Broker one-on-one training for beginners, I have put the link, and I'll do it again before I get off. All right, so all 10 of you guys have did a thumbs up. That's good. I put the link to our website, and all my information is there if you want to reach out to me. If you want to consider doing that, that'll be good too. Yeah. So oh, LaDonna said yes, they'll need to leave the live and come back, and then they'll see it. Okay, to see the like. Okay, so LaDonna is giving me some. I didn't even know that. So the thumbs up button. Okay, but good. All right, guys. Someone just left, so they're coming back in to do a thumbs up. So I got 10 thumbs up, but 9 people are in here. So somebody left and came back and put a thumbs up. All right. But yeah, the link to the website, to the enrollment page, if you guys are considering that. In the meantime, I'll start coming back in and producing some live videos to answer some questions for those who are not members of the ongoing Freight Broker one-on-one training, but are subscribed to the Freight Broker one-on-one YouTube channel. It kind of give you a push and motivation to consider at least come over to the dark side, right? Young Padawan. So with that, I think I will end this live. And I probably will see you. I will try to do live trainings like briefly after I do the actual Zoom trainings with the members. So kind of give you an update of what we actually went over as a way to motivate you guys to at least consider coming over to the training. So that's does that have the dispatcher information on the website as well? Yes, but I didn't put the dispatcher training on the website. If you click that link for the Freight Broker side, at the top of the page, you'll see headers. If you want dispatcher information, just click the dispatcher one-on-one header, and it gives you the same type of information as the Freight Broker header does. Okay. All right. With that being said, thank you guys. Obviously, this is going to be on the YouTube channel in a second. So we'll talk to you next time. Have a great night.